It's hard to wrap your mind around the concept that there was a time that teenagers didn't exist. Before there were child labor laws, children just went directly into the workforce. And there was no distinct youth culture to speak of. Once that started to change, that age group between child and adult started to emerge as its own demographic. And media and advertising adjusted to that. This was the societal context behind the founding of American Bandstand, the show that was invented specifically for drawing and keeping the attention of teenagers and their frenzied fascination with rock and roll. WFIL-TV in Philadelphia wanted a show that could work with record labels as a means of promoting music to young people. They noticed that teenagers were already gathering after school to dance to records at community centers and soda shops, so they thought, if teenagers like to dance, let's put this on camera. So they invited local kids to come down and dance on air, give their opinions on the latest records, and sometimes watch bands perform live. Bandstand was launched in 1952 with host Bob Horn for the first couple of years. But after a bunch of legal trouble, including a DUI, as well as some accusations of sexual misconduct with some of the younger dancers on the show, dude was removed, and as a result, local DJ and personality Dick Clark, who was a bit younger than Bob, was hired to replace him. Dick was a bit more in tune to what was happening in new music, and he had a really great approval rating with both teenagers and their parents. With Dick Clark at the helm, the show really started to take off, and in 1957, he successfully convinced ABC to air the show nationally, renaming it American Bandstand. The show was really documenting what was happening in youth culture at the time in kind of the same way that social media does it today. It was the first time that teenagers saw themselves on television. They could emulate the fashion, the mannerisms, and be told what to like and what trends to follow, all based on watching American Bandstand. The show was essential to the popularization of dance craze music, like the twist, the locomotion, the swim, often even including tutorials on how to do the dances right there on the show. The show is also absolutely key to the normalization of the integration of black and white artists and the music they made. In the early days, they pretty much exclusively featured white dancers, but beginning with Chuck Berry's appearance in 1957, Dick Clark started to push more and more for black performers. And this was no easy task. We're talking about an era where they still use the phrase race music. In this way, American Bandstand became the first place for many American white teenagers to hear music made by black people. Through the 60s, they helped make genres like Motown and soul national sensations by featuring groups like the Supremes, Stevie Wonder, and the Jackson 5. Dick Clark, of course, became an American treasure, and the show ran all the way until 1989, leaving behind a legacy that we can see all over our culture today.